Good to be with you. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now. Day 4 of the search for Nancy Guthrie. We're learning the last person to see her alive before she disappeared, her son-in-law. Authorities say they're also tracking down every tip, all the leads that come in. But the sheriff says they have nothing else to go on but the belief she's still alive.
I think it's terrible.
And the phone call from President Trump, what he told Today co-anchor Savannah Guthrie about her mom. Also developing tonight, the drawdown in Minnesota, 700 federal agents packing up to leave. Why border czar Tom Homan says he's doing it, and what the president said today about a softer approach. The high-stakes gondola rescue in New York tonight. More than 60 skiers stuck on the side of a mountain. The Guinness World Record-breaking educator, 67 years at the front of the classroom. Her message tonight to students everywhere. And the 150th year of Best in Show. The judge's pick is a misjudged breed.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel.
Thank you for joining us. A lot of news to get to on a busy Wednesday night, but still no suspect in the apparent abduction of Nancy Guthrie. No major updates from authorities either, as CBS News learns new details about the last known family member to see the 84-year-old last Saturday night. It was Today co-anchor Savannah Guthrie's brother-in-law who dropped off the elder Guthrie at home after a dinner at Savannah's sister's house. That was around 9:45 p.m. Jonathan Vigliotti is on the ground, has been covering this from the very beginning for us. Jonathan, good evening. What more do we know tonight?
Yeah, Tony, good evening to you. Just moments ago, the sheriff's department arrived here on scene. With them, they brought a canine. They are now searching this entire property. They have taped it off. CBS News has just learned that the FBI is now sending in additional personnel. Officials have been combing through hundreds of leads. This could be one of them.
These are the first images of members of Nancy Guthrie's family we're seeing since her disappearance. Her daughter Annie and son-in-law Tommaso Cioni driving in their car on Tuesday. The Pima County Sheriff says the family has been assisting them in the search for the 84-year-old matriarch. The sheriff tells CBS News Nancy Guthrie had dinner at Annie and Tommaso's home on Saturday night. Tommaso then took Nancy back to her house about a 10-minute drive away. She was dropped off around 9:45 p.m. Cioni was the last person to see her. It wasn't until 11 a.m. the following day Guthrie's children were alerted that she did not show up for church. They contacted the police about an hour later. And now, nearly 4 days into the search, Sheriff Chris Nanos says there's still no suspect or a person of interest.
Nothing has come up that says, here he is, here's your bad guy. We're working towards, where is Nancy? Where is Miss Guthrie? We want to find her. That's what everybody wants. Once we do that, then we can worry about the whodunit.
Is there a scenario where you don't find Nancy Guthrie anytime soon?
Absolutely.
Authorities continue to ask for the public's help in cracking this case. Chief of Detectives for the Pima County Attorney's Office, Fabian Pacheco, oversees one of the tip lines.
It only takes one tip, just one to break the case open, to offer that lead that we so desperately need in this case.
Investigators are still working to authenticate an unverified ransom note they received on Monday night. Meanwhile, there's been an outpouring of support for the Guthrie family here in Tucson, where Nancy Guthrie has lived since the 1970s.
And we're learning that President Trump spoke with Savannah Guthrie today, offering his support. A candlelight vigil will be held here later on tonight in Tucson. Meanwhile, the search behind me, Tony, continues on.
All right, Jonathan, thank you very much. We turn now to Minneapolis, where after weeks of protests and the killing of 2 people during clashes with federal agents, border czar Tom Homan announced an immediate drawdown of 700 agents, part of what President Trump in an interview today called a softer touch on enforcement, but still tough. Here's Omar Villafranca.
After weeks of protest fueled by heightened immigration enforcement in Minnesota,
this is smart law enforcement, not less law enforcement.
Today, border czar Tom Homan announced that roughly 700 federal agents are being pulled out of the state immediately, leaving over 2,000 federal officers on the ground.
My goal with the support of President Trump is to achieve a complete drawdown and end this surge as soon as we can.
The drawdown follows clashes with protesters and the shooting deaths of 2 American citizens in Minneapolis last month.
Do you think this operation was a success here in Minnesota?
Yeah, I think it was very effective as far as public safety goes. Was it a perfect operation? No.
The operation has fueled growing frustration around ICE tactics, including the apprehension of recently released 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos and 4th grader Elizabeth Zuna. Their detentions angered the community, but motivated teachers to do more.
Some of the students are bringing home more than homework in their backpacks. They're bringing home groceries from the school pantry. They raise funds because parents are too scared to leave the house to even go to the grocery store.
I can't take away their fears, but our staff has stepped up.
Jason Kuhlman is the principal at Valley View Elementary School.
We have kids that are MIA that we've tried. We've gone out and done welfare checks. We drive by the house a couple times. They're gone. They've vanished. They moved out of state. They're trying to move someplace safe.
You don't know where they are
No,
or if they're going
we
to
have
come back
no
to your
clue.
classroom.
Nope.
2 Minnesota school districts and a teachers union sued the Trump administration today to stop ICE raids near schools. The teachers are saying that ICE activities disrupt learning. DHS responded in a statement saying ICE is not going to schools to arrest children. Tony?
Omar, thank you very much. Ryan Ruth, the man convicted of attempting to kill President Trump just ahead of the election in 2024, will spend the rest of his life in prison, a Florida judge said today. Ruth tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen when he was found guilty. Today, before giving him the maximum sentence, the judge told him, quote, "Evil is in you." The midterm elections, they are 9 months in the future, but President Trump remains preoccupied with his loss to Joe Biden 5 years in the past. In Georgia, 2 recounts have confirmed the 2020 results, and yet there is now another legal battle over ballots. And nationally, the president is talking about taking over some state elections. That would be a constitutional battle like few we have ever seen. Here's Weijia Zhang.
Georgia election officials today demanded the return of ballots and records from the 2020 election that were seized last week by the FBI.
We will fight using all resources against those who seek to take over our elections. Our Constitution itself is at stake in this fight.
New body camera video obtained by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution shows FBI agents searching the Fulton County Election Center.
One way or the other, the records are coming with us today.
President Trump, who continues to falsely claim the 2020 election was rigged, sent National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard to Fulton County to oversee that unprecedented raid. And he personally thanked the agents afterward in a call set up by Gabbard, alarming Democrats.
I am more worried now about the security of our elections than I've ever been.
Some Republicans pushed back too this week against Trump's call to nationalize elections.
Everybody understands that the states are in charge of administering the elections.
Trump argued for federal intervention in places that he claimed run crooked elections.
Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at Pennsylvania. Take a look at Philadelphia. You go take a look at Atlanta. Look at some of the places that horrible corruption on elections. And the federal government should not allow that. The federal government should get involved.
Trump ally Steve Bannon predicted the administration would send federal agents to voting precincts in November.
You're damn right. We're going to have ICE surround the polls come November. We're not going to sit here and allow you to steal the country again.
And we just some developing news on another election-related story. The Supreme Court clearing the way for a new congressional map in the state of California. What more can you tell us about that?
Tony, California voters approved that new map during a special election last fall, which could give Democrats up to 5 additional congressional seats. The California Republican Party submitted an emergency request to block the map before this year's midterm elections, but the Supreme Court has now denied that request. Tony?
All right, Weijia, thank you very much. Some scary moments at a ski resort in New York's Adirondack Mountains today. A long line of gondolas suddenly stopped cold. 20 cars in all, leaving more than 60 skiers dangling in the frigid temperatures. Elaine Keanu now on what happened next.
You can see it's super windy up there.
Cell phone video shows first responders lowering person after person, stranded on a gondola for hours at a ski resort in upstate New York.
Emergency call from base for State of Decorah Mountain Ski Center.
The Olympic Regional Development Authority, which operates the resort, says 67 skiers became stuck after a mechanical issue forced officials to stop the lift.
It's very cold. Good news is these individuals are obviously dressed for the cold in their ski gear.
Crews worked quickly to fix the problem and launched teams with high elevation rescue experience to evacuate everyone safely.
It definitely wasn't fun sitting up there for 5 hours not really knowing what was going on.
The rangers who saved the skiers had just completed rescue training at that same mountain in November. Tony?
Elaine, thank you very much. The winter snowstorm that swept across North Carolina this week whipped up winds and rough surf in the Outer Banks, sending at least 4 beachside homes collapsing into the ocean. Look at those pictures. For the latest weather, we are joined now by meteorologist Rob Marciano. Rob, good evening.
Hey, Tony, that same area is going to get a little bit more snow and ice tonight. Unfortunately, right now, temps are above freezing across the Carolinas, Virginia. But we've got some rain there that's going to turn, I think, to more snow and ice overnight. And because of that, there is a winter weather advisory up that includes Raleigh up through Norfolk for some slick roads in the morning. And that will slide out to sea as we go through time. But the next storm is coming literally from the North Pole. So Thursday and Friday, it's going to be preceded by snow. For Chicago, Detroit could see 2 to 4 inches, maybe more than that in Pittsburgh, and a dusting or so here in New York City. But the cold itself is going to be brutal. Will remain below normal. LA, you hit a record high today, so that storyline hasn't changed. But the next batch of cold coming in is going to mean business come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the northeastern third of the country. -2 for a wind chill in Detroit, -7, about -11 and 13 Sunday morning. That is dangerous wind chills for millions of Americans again. Tony?
Rob, thank you very much. Here's a question for you. How safe are self-driving cars? Lawmakers had questions about that today for Waymo and Tesla executives after some close calls on the roads and as the technology continues to expand. Waymo operates robotaxis in 6 U.S. cities already, with plans to expand to at least 10 more. Here's senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
Waymo, run to the parade. You've seen the viral videos, self-driving cars not following the rules of the road. This Waymo in Phoenix ended up on the tracks of the city's light rail. And in Austin, the autonomous robotaxis have racked up at least 24 tickets for not yielding to school buses, prompting questions from lawmakers for Waymo's head of safety.
We have already incorporated many changes to our software to dramatically improve our performance.
Last month, a Waymo in Santa Monica hit a young girl who the company says darted out from behind a parked car. The Waymo slammed on its brakes. She suffered minor injuries.
We found that the Waymo driver would have responded faster than our models of an attentive human driver.
Tuesday, Senator Ed Markey sent letters to 7 autonomous vehicle companies demanding answers about safety and oversight.
We need more honesty from the industry.
The Massachusetts Democrat is pushing 2 measures, one requiring more transparency and another requiring companies to certify their vehicles as safe.
Certify where the vehicle can be driven safely so that there is a standard which has been established that the company will then be accountable for.
Currently, self-driving cars are largely regulated by a patchwork of state laws. Senate Commerce Committee Chairman Ted Cruz says that needs to change.
If we want to be able to develop this technology in a way that maximizes safety, that protects the most human lives, it makes a lot of sense for there to be a uniform federal standard rather than 50 conflicting standards at the state level.
Tesla and Waymo have aggressive expansion plans, but warn every year China becomes a bigger and bigger competitor. Waymo says its self-driving vehicles like the one we're in are 10 times less likely to be involved in a serious injury accident than a human driver. Tony?
And it successfully stopped right there. Chris, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Still ahead, Northern California police in action, smashing their way into a burning home. What they found inside. In the frigid waters off Norway, NATO allies are holding anti-submarine war games, training for the possibility of a Russian attack in the Arctic. The 12-day mission comes as America's ties to our European allies have been tested in recent months by President Trump's pursuit of Greenland. Holly Williams now from Norway's southwest coast.
In Europe's high north, America's NATO allies are practicing hunting for Russian submarines. Norway, Spain, Germany and others in a military exercise called Arctic Dolphin. This stretch of water connects the Arctic and the Russian Navy's northern fleet with the Atlantic Ocean. If Russia ever targeted the United States with its nuclear-armed submarines, this is where NATO would try to stop them.
It needs to be synchronized.
Commodore Sture Haugen is the commander of the Norwegian fleet. He agrees with President Trump that Russia could compromise Arctic security.
If those submarines are getting into the Atlantic, they are posing a threat both to Europe but also to the American homeland.
Russia's beefing up its military presence in the Arctic and using the region to test hypersonic missiles designed to evade U.S. air defenses.
We're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way.
But President Trump has angered America's NATO partners by repeatedly insisting that the U.S. needs to take over Greenland, and by threatening last month to impose tariffs on NATO allies if they didn't comply. Trump's now backed down on the tariffs, but some here in Europe say the episode's eroded trust in the U.S. as an ally.
Can one country alone defend against the Russian threat?
We are much stronger together. Every nation are taking advantage of being a part of something that is bigger than themselves.
Despite the controversy surrounding President Trump's statements on Greenland and NATO, Commodore Haugen told us the military relationship between the US and Norway is as strong as it's ever been. Tony.
Holly, thank you very much. Up next in a moment, an Arctic sled dog takes the camera and runs. Stay with us. We have new footage of a daring rescue in California. Police body cam video shows a fire spreading through a home near Sacramento last week. 2 people trapped inside. First responders, though, able to break a window and then rush in as the flames spread, getting everyone out safely. Mickey Lolich has died. He was a legend on the mound for the Detroit Tigers, best known for his performance in the 1968 World Series when he threw 3 complete game victories. And he was a legend off the mound as well. Born right-handed, he started throwing lefty after a childhood tricycle accident. He was burly, he was sideburned, and he was proud of it, famously calling himself a beer drinker's idol. Mickey Lolich was 85. A record-setting educator was honored in Michigan this week. Beverly Hannett Price has been teaching English at Detroit Country Day School for 67 years and counting. The 90-year-old now holds the Guinness World Record for longest career as a female language teacher. And she has some advice for students. Be the best version of yourself, she says, because there will never be another you. All right, try to explain this one to the boss. After journalists interviewed some dog sledders in Greenland, they noticed a $700 camera was missing. A playful sled dog caught on camera committing the crime. At some point, the dog itself hit record on this very expensive chew toy and is then seen running off to hide the camera under a sled. It was found, and despite a few bite marks, it still works. Still ahead, one more for dog lovers, the fierce-looking but tender-hearted Doberman, just named Best in Show.
This portion of the CBS Evening News is sponsored by Air Supra. Visit us at airsupra.com.
We're back with the good stuff. A moment of history last night at the 150th Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. 2 days of ring trotting in formal wear, 2,000 dogs whittled down to 7 group winners, and some big fan favorites like Graham, the Old English Sheepdog, and Kota, the Chesapeake Bay Retriever. But in the end, a moment of sheer redemption for a misunderstood breed.
For Best in Show at the 150th Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show is the Doberman Pinscher.
Penny for the win. Not since '89 has a Doberman won, and not since ever outside of fan clubs is the Doberman celebrated as it was last night for grace, agreeableness, and sheer beauty. Has there ever been a friendly Doberman in cartoons or pop culture? But that fearsome reputation, turns out, was intentional. The dog was developed, and this is true, by a tax collector named Doberman who wanted the most intimidating partner. Hence the cropped ears, the clipped tail, the bad reputation. But Dobermans today work as comfort animals, as therapy dogs, as good old-fashioned family dogs. And Penny's handler, Andy Linton, for example, well, he described the new champion as very chill. So don't judge a dog by its ears, at least not this one. That's another day in America. I'm Tony DeCopel. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Good night.